In this chapter, Dr. Shepard provides a detailed overview of the key personalities and social dynamics of the village of King's Abbot. He introduces the central figure, Roger Ackroyd, and the web of relationships and gossip surrounding him. The doctor's daily rounds are interrupted by two significant encounters that deepen the mystery surrounding Mrs. Ferrar's death. Before I proceed, it might be well to give some idea of our local geography. Our village, King's Abbot, is much like any other. Our big town is Cranchester, 9 miles away. We have a large railway station, a small post office, and 2 rival general stores. We are rich in unmarried ladies and retired military officers. Our hobbies can be summed up in one word: gossip. There are only 2 houses of any importance here. One is King's Paddock, left to Mrs. Ferrars by her late husband. The other, Fernley Park, is owned by Roger Ackroyd. Ackroyd always reminds me of the red-faced sportsman from old-fashioned musical comedies. Of course, he isn't really a country squire. He is an immensely successful manufacturer of wagon wheels, I think. He is nearly 50, rubicund of face, genial of manner, and is, in fact, the life and soul of our peaceful village. When Roger Ackroyd was 21, he married a beautiful widow, Mrs. Patton. The marriage was short and painful. To put it bluntly, Mrs. Ackroyd was a dipsomaniac. She drank herself into her grave 4 years after their marriage. She left a son from her first marriage, Ralph Peyton, who was then 7. Ackroyd has raised him as his own, but he has been a wild lad and a continual source of trouble. Still, we are all very fond of Ralph in King's Abbot. He is such a good-looking youngster. As I said, we are ready enough to gossip. Everyone noticed that Ackroyd and Mrs. Ferrars got on very well together. After her husband's death, the intimacy became more marked. It was freely conjectured that at the end of her mourning period, she would become Mrs. Roger Ackroyd. It seemed fitting that these 2 victims of alcoholic spouses should find happiness together. A halo of gossip has surrounded Ackroyd for years. A series of lady housekeepers has presided over his establishment, each regarded with lively suspicion by Caroline and her cronies. The last, Miss Russell, has reigned for 5 years. It is felt that, but for Mrs. Ferrars, Ackroyd could hardly have escaped marrying her. That, and the arrival of his widowed sister-in-law, Mrs. Cecil Ackroyd, and her daughter from Canada. They have taken up residence at Fernley Park, and, according to Caroline, have succeeded in putting Miss Russell in her proper place. Now, there has been a rearrangement of the kaleidoscope. From discussing wedding presents, we have been jerked into the midst of tragedy. Revolving these matters in my mind, I went on my round. My thoughts returned again and again to Mrs. Ferrars's death. Had she taken her own life? Surely she would have left a note. Women, in my experience, covet the limelight when they make such a decision. When had I last seen her? A week ago, her manner was normal enough. Then I remembered. I had seen her just yesterday. She was walking with Ralph Patton. I was surprised. I had no idea he was in King's Abbot. I thought he'd quarreled with his stepfather. They were walking side by side, their heads close together, and she was talking very earnestly. I think it was at this moment that a foreboding of the future first swept over me. Nothing tangible, but a vague premonition. That earnest tete-a-tete struck me disagreeably. I was still thinking of it when I came face to face with Roger Ackroyd.
Shepard, just the man I wanted to get hold of. This is a terrible business.
You heard then? He nodded. He had felt the blow keenly. His big red cheeks seemed to have fallen in. He looked a wreck.
It's worse than you know. Look here, Shepard, I've got to talk to you. Can you come back with me now?
Hardly. I've got 3 patients to see still, and I must be back by 12 for my surgery patients.
Then this afternoon? No, better still, dine tonight. At 7:30? Will that suit you?
Yes, I can manage that all right. What's wrong? Is it Ralph? I hardly knew why I said that, except that it had so often been Ralph.
Ralph? Oh, no, it's not Ralph. Ralph's in London. Damn, here's old Miss Gannett coming. I don't want to have to talk to her. See you tonight, Shepard. 7:30.
He hurried away, leaving me wondering. Ralph? In London? But he was certainly here yesterday. Ackroyd's manner suggested he hadn't been near the place for months. Before I could puzzle it out, Miss Gannett was upon me.
Oh, Dr. Shepard, isn't it just sad about poor dear Mrs. Ferrars? People are saying, and it's so wicked, I know, that she was a confirmed drug taker for years. But you know, there's no smoke without fire. And they're saying that Mr. Ackroyd found out and broke off the engagement. Because there was an engagement, you know. I have proof positive of that. Of course, you must know all about it. Doctors always do, but you never tell, do you?
I merely congratulated Miss Gannett on not joining in ill-natured gossip. A neat counterattack, I thought. It left her in difficulties, and before she could recover, I had passed on. I went home thoughtful to find several patients waiting. I had dismissed the last of them when I perceived one more waiting for me. It was Miss Russell, Ackroyd's housekeeper, a tall, handsome, but forbidding woman. I always feel that if I were a housemaid, I should run for my life whenever I heard her coming.
Good morning, Dr. Shepard. I should be much obliged if you would take a look at my knee.
I took a look, but her account of vague pains was so unconvincing. It crossed my mind that she might be inventing it to pump me about Mrs. Ferrars, but she made only a brief reference to the tragedy, yet she seemed disposed to linger.
Well, thank you very much for this bottle of liniment, Doctor. Not that I believe it will do the least good.
I didn't think it would either, but I protested in duty bound.
I don't believe in all these drugs. Drugs do a lot of harm. Look at the cocaine habit. It's very prevalent in high society. Just tell me this, Doctor. Suppose you are really a slave of the drug habit. Is there any cure?
I gave her a short lecture on the subject. I still suspected she was after information about Mrs. Ferrars. Now, Veronal, for instance. But strangely, she didn't seem interested in Veronal. Instead, she asked if it was true that there were certain poisons so rare as to baffle detection. Ah, you've been reading detective stories.
I have.
The essence of a detective story is to have a rare poison, something from South America that nobody has ever heard of. Death is instantaneous, and Western science is powerless to detect it. That is the kind of thing you mean.
Yes. Is there really such a thing?
I'm afraid there isn't. There's curare, of course. I told her a good deal about curare, but she seemed to have lost interest. She asked if I had any in my poison cupboard, and when I said no, I fancy I fell in her estimation. She said she must be getting back.
Sound of the surgery door opening and closing as the luncheon gong sounds in the distance.
I should never have suspected Miss Russell of a fondness for detective stories. It pleases me to think of her stepping out to rebuke a housemaid, then returning to a comfortable perusal of The Mystery of the Seventh Death.